Hi, this is Lina Liang. Today, I'd like to share some information about open source. Let's begin with agenda. There are 5 parts in my agenda. First, what is open source? Second, criteria of open source software. Third, specify software for personal use. And the advantage of open source and the conclusion. Firstly, what is open source? When a software program is open source, it means the program source code is freely available to the public. Unlike commercial software, open source programs can be modified and distributed by anyone and are often developed as a community rather than a single organization. For this reason, the phrase open source community is commonly used to describe the developer of open source software development project. Since the source code of an open source program can be modified by anyone, it makes sense that the software is also free to download and use. The terms of use are often defined by the GNU General Public License, which serves as a software license agreement for many open source programs. Open source software development projects are often funded by donors with an interest in the project by user donations or through advertisements. Some developers are also generate revenue by selling documentations and help menus for the software. Other projects are funded by no more than a collective desire of developers to create a great program. Uh, Next, there are some criteria of open source software. The distribution terms of open source software must comply with the following criteria. First, free redistribution. The license should not restrict any party from selling or giving away the software as a component of an aggregate software distribution connecting programs from several different sources. The license should not require a royalty or other fee for such sales. Second, derived works. The license must not allow modification, and the derived works must allow them to be distributed under the same terms as the license of the original software. Third, no discrimination against persons or group. The license must not discriminate against any person or group of persons. In order to get the maximum benefit from the process, the maximum diversity of persons and groups should be equally eligible to contribute to open sources. Therefore, we forbid any open source license from locking anybody out of the process. The next, no discrimination against the fields of endeavor. The license must not restrict anyone from making use of the program in a specific field of endeavor. For example, it may not restrict the program from being used in a business or from being used for genetic research. The major intention of this clause is to prohibit license traps that prevent open source from being used commercially. We want commercial users to join the community, not feel excluded from it. The next, source code. The program must include source code and must allow distribution in source code as well as compliant form. Where some form of a product is not distributed with source code, there must be a publicized means of obtaining the source code for no more than a reasonable reproduction cost, preferably downloading via internet without change. The source code must be the preferred form in which a programmer should modify the program. Deliberately obfuscated source code is not allowed. Intermediate intermediate forms such as the output of a preprocessors or translators are not allowed. The next one is integrity of the author's source code. The license may restrict source code from being distributed in modified form only if the license allows the distribution of patch files with the source code for the purpose of modifying the program at build time. The license must explicitly permit distribution of software built from modified source code. The license may require derived works to carry a different name or version number from the original software. Okay, the next one is distribution of license. The right attached to the program must apply to all to whom the program is redistributed without the need for execution of an additional license by those parties. And the next is license must not be specific to the product. The right attached to the program must not depend on the program's being part of a particular software distribution. If the program is extracted from that distribution and used or distributed within terms of the program's license, all parties to whom the program is distributed should have the same rights as those that are granted in conjunction with the original software distribution. License must be technology neutral. No provision of the license may be predicated on any individual technology or style of interface. The last one, license must not restrict other software. The license must not place restrictions on other software that is distributed along with the licensed software. For example, the license must not insist that all other programs distributed on the same medium must be open source software. Here are some best free software for personal use. The first, like Firefox. Firefox is a popular alternative to Chrome. More than 30% of web users use Firefox as their browsers. Firefox stops annoying pop-ups and has tons of amazing plugins that can make surfing the web more personalized and efficient. And the Thunderbird is another example. Thunderbird is an email client, client that has five big things going for it. It's free and it's for featured and it's lightweight and runs quick and it has an unparalleled spam filters and it protects you from those ridiculous phishing checks by clearly indicating which emails sent you to box website. If you are not already use a web-based email solution, Thunderbird should be your client. The next one is the Mozilla Lightning Calendars. Meant to be used with Thunderbird, Lightning enables you to organize your schedule and important events in a calendar that's fully integrated with your email. You can manage and share multiple calendars, create recurring events, add to-do lists, invite friends or to events, and subscribe to public calendars, including holidays. Uh, I think there are many advantages about open source software. The first is lower cost. The most obvious advantage of open source software is the products are normally free to download, although it has in-queue running costs such as storage and community power. Even those real paid for open source products still tend to be far cheaper than closed source alternatives. The next, quick fixed. Open source software bugs are normally quickly discovered and fixed thanks to a collaborative community of developers and users and easy access to source code. The fix is often quickly followed by the release of an updated version and a tempting alternative to the slower process of proprietary venture. Third, open source software offers a great degree of customization through access to the code and detailed tailoring can normally be done with only limited resource. If internal skills are insufficient, support is available from the project's developers, the open source community, or any commercial expert who wants the job. First, as open source developers are primarily motivated by pride in their work and the opinions of their peers, they tend to focus more on the quality of their products while their commercial rivals can be focused on the bottom line. They are also part of a community that benefits from supporting one another. Many users correct bugs themselves. The next, higher quality software. The input of a lengthy list of developers who are motivated to produce the best software possible will often lead to a superior product. These standards can be maintained throughout the lifetime of the software and is regularly improved by developers as required. What's more, open source software exposes vulnerabilities for all to see, so there are many eyeballs looking out for risks. This means that bugs are quickly caught and cured. The smaller size of the open source community also makes it a less likely target of attacks. The next one, easier to audit. The availability of source code makes it possible for use of open source software to review security and performance standards. This allows them to independently discover any shortcoming and making the necessary changes. The next, regular updates. Um, pro, propri- Proprietary software often has a short shelf life and forces customers to invest in new versions for fixed features or formats that the original purchase locked. Open source software will normally be updated on a regular basis by the developer community or the user as and when they choose to through their access to the source code. If the users don't want to update their existing software, they are free to stick with what they have got rather than be imprisoned to the whims of the vendor. Lastly, conclusion. In conclusion, open source software is free software for business or personal use. Open source developers freely share their knowledge and make the source code available to the public. The software is distributed with a license which allows other developers can modify it and add to it. Some examples of open source software are the Firefox browsers, Thunderbird, Mozilla, and so on. And open source software has many advantages compared with closed source software, especially it's free to the public. That's my presentation. Thank you.